r/antiwork. Trust Mebra Trust says. It was a short week on the job lol. Keep in mind I texted hours before my shift. Then on the job application it stated an hourly rate, which turned out to be false. Instead it's terrible commission rates, no hourly. The day I interviewed, the person that was supposed to interview me wasn't even there. I got my uniform smelling like straight Kushum, so I decided to test the waters and call out. Included photo. Majesty says. If it's just a fever, you should be okay to come in and work. WTF Mayo. Nap, good on you for not going in while sick and also quitting. Augustus B. McPhee says. Given the context, you've made a good choice. I don't know how much a doctor's appointment would be where you are, and don't know what your pay rate is when you call out sick, but the bait and switch with pay is the sort of thing that I'd walk out on if I had any alternative. Ducarad Wolf says. Just a fever, WTF. On the job application it stated an hourly rate, which turned out to be false. Instead it's terrible commission rates, no hourly. Sounds like wage theft. Contact your local Dept of Labor, see what they have to say about it. Cord says. Do this. Twawiland says. You're doing it wrong. I'm taking a sick day. I'll be back. Insert day of return. Your employer isn't entitled to know why or how you are sick. Arkatakama says. It's just a fever, a sign that can be understood by anyone with even the most bare bones medical knowledge to mean that you're sick and possibly infectious. You should be okay to serve your corporate overlord for minimum wage and no benefits. Looking ass. Tofu9 says. You dodged a freaking bullet, homie. Sharpshooter 188 says. This has to be a bottom end job. Retail or food industry, methinks. I remember having to deal with this shit. Had strep throat. Breathing hurt. Felt like razor blades in my throat. Yeah, I probably could have still come in and done my job in misery. I'm not doing that for 7.50/hours. Kira El Melonia says. Welcome to late stage capitalism. DR Phil says. So in America you can't go to see a doctor to diagnose you for free. You never get paid when sick, and you in this case make $8 an hour. Unreal. r/antiwork. Supmaster3 says. I have spent over $200 just looking for work these past 3 months. Frick, I'm so pissed off at in-person job interviews. A bus isn't free. What a waste of time and money just to get ghosted. I hate this beautiful planet and how it runs on money. Employers should reimburse your travel time and money. Frick this shit, why am I still alive? Pilliaf Dead Ninjas says. I hit that point and decided I was going to focus on working for myself and not being anyone's employee. I'm much happier. Needles to sale, all needless. D1 Scostu 91 says. Curious, what business did you get into for yourself? Big Dog 8492 says. Needles. Spirited Log 1003 says. That sounds incredibly frustrating and exhausting. It's so unfair how much you have to spend just to try to get a job. I hope things start looking up soon and maybe consider reaching out to job placement services or virtual opportunities to cut down on those costs. Pirate Salt says. Well, I can agree with public transit should be free. Jkodink says. It takes money to make money. Money doesn't buy happiness, and a dozen other oligarchs' phrases to make you think it's normal. Emma Fashion says. Same thing here. Yowza says. Hope this helps. Have you tried going to your local workforce or work agency? Those places can get you in ASAP, and I believe the workforce can also help with your resume. Run up a flagpole says, I haven't totaled it up, but between interview clothes, MacUp, gas, resume printing, etc. I spent quite a lot as well. Different Radio 1027 says, this is the American dream for ya. I'd go through my laundry list of shit I've been through the past 6 till I just recently got a decent paying job, but that's another story. Sometimes life doesn't give you what you want, but what you need. Maybe treat people better? Sounds like you need to be more professional at these interviews, or make a resume featuring your longest held jobs. Alida2 says, you are alive because your job is not the definition of your value, worth, or the ability as a person. Your job is simply a way to pay for the life you live, and that really does suck to have to do. But do not let this world or yourself appraise your value on how much you can generate for someone else. This is one aspect of life. One small bit of what it is to live. Do not let frustration in this area spread like a cancer into everything else that is you. r/antiwork. No nefariousness 8076 says, my teenage son got fired today. So this is kind of a long story. Before the holidays, an adult manager at my son's work tried to get my son 16 male to sell him a controlled medication my son is legally prescribed. My son went to a higher up manager and told what happened. The business always closes over the Christmas holiday period through New Year's Day. This happened on my son's last work day before the holiday. So we come back from our holiday travels and my son is supposed to return to work on 1/6. We take him to work that morning and that same manager is there, and he is the only manager working. My son reached out to the GM and she said, disciplinary action has been taken for the manager, but if you're not comfortable working then you can just stop working your Saturday shift and go home today. So that's what he did. After that happened we realized that this is pretty clear retaliation. We started trying to get a meeting with the GM so we could discuss what was going on. But we were never able to. Fast forward to this past weekend. My son goes to work on Sunday and then calls us 10 minutes later saying that he needs to get picked up because when he went inside they said, oh we thought you quit and so we got someone to cover your shift today. He kept trying to get a meeting with GM so we could talk all this through. But she stopped responding to messages. Today she messaged him and said he was fired because of no call no shows. This has never happened. He messaged back and said what specific dates did I no call no show. She said past Sunday. The day they told him to FO home because they thought he quit and got someone to cover his shift with no communication whatsoever. This is utter BS. What happened is an adult manager asked my minor child to illegally sell him drugs and not to tell anyone. When my son refused and told management he was retaliated against with fewer hours and then firing a week later. Alofaratu says, do not go 2 hours for something like this. Your son is already fired, so the harm is already done, and ours will seek to minimize the liability to the company. Speak to the union. Or, if your son is not a member of the union, I would suggest go to the police and file a police report to create documentary evidence of the drug purchase incident involving a minor. Speak to a lawyer and have the lawyer draft up some legalese relating to the retaliatory action. The specific claim will depend on your state, but will be something along the lines of unreasonable punitive action. The outcome you're seeking is financial compensation for your son's abrupt loss of work. I'd suggest something in the order of 6 to 8 weeks pay is an appropriate amount plus a nominal amount for modest legal expenses. Your son hasn't suffered harm other than loss of employment, so the remedy will be a payout sufficient to support your son while he finds new employment. It's unlikely that the drug incident will go anywhere due to lack of evidence, but still get the police report. It will be useful to support your claim that you intend to litigate if the matter is not resolved. #repeat, do not go 2 hours at this stage. No nefariousness 8076 says. We will be speaking to an attorney and may go to labor relations in our state. Alofaratu says. Beauty, that's the right course of action. I seriously recommend the police report. Documentary evidence is worth its weight in gold. The police won't do anything for something like this, but it will create a paper trail. If a police report is too big a step, at the very least have your son record, in writing exactly the incident, print it out, sign it, and post it to yourself, and leave the envelope sealed. When you receive it, the dated post stamp will prove that it is a record of the incident created soon after the incident. Fantastic U7208 says. The GM isn't going to do anything. Escalate to a regional manager or ours. I don't know if he'd be protected from retaliation legally in this situation, but if you seem likely to get litigious they might do something. One of my teenagers was fired without cause, or actually ghosted by removing her from the schedule and never saying a word to her. You feel protective and want to punish the employer, but sometimes it's a lesson in letting things go. Either way, good luck. Eptomane Putatus says. Take it to the cops. With several 7351 says. Get your son as far away from that establishment as he can possibly be. He's better off. The Reluctant Warrior says. Are there texts or emails of any of this, or was it all person to person? Because otherwise they may have done that as an excuse to fire him, but that also means they would have tried to fire him later on as well. Fixerguhai 415 says. Screw them. Report this illegal demand by the manager to the police. Let them deal with this idiot. They want to play hardball? Batter up, swing batter. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.